I guess we'll start in a few. There's a couple more people coming in.
Yes, I can hear.
And then about you sharing the screen. Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and get started because I don't want to hold you guys up longer than what you guys need to be here. So thank you everybody for taking the time to come today. Today is our Pāhala Nāʻālehu large capacity cesspool district-wide meeting for the communities. Under our AOC requirements, we are obligated to hold this meeting twice every year. So thank you guys for taking the time to come out today. Next slide. All right, so just for the agenda today, so we'll start off with introductions. So I'm Mark Grant, project coordinator for wastewater division, managing both the Pāhala Nāʻālehu large capacity cesspool project. We have Alex White here helping out with the slides. Diana Lacey, our deputy corp counsel, and then we have Daniel Garvin in the back. He is DEM's appointed director very recently. So if you have any questions, you can look at that guy. No. Right. Just real basic ground rules. You know, we do ask everybody just to please be respectful of everybody's time. If somebody's speaking, just let the person speak. If you can please silence your phones, and everybody will be able to have verbal comments if you guys want to have questions. Or we have some questionnaires if you guys have any questions you guys want to write down. If you guys don't feel like speaking in front of the crowd. So, and we just, you know, ask everybody to just keep clean language, you know, as much as possible. All right. So first off, just wanted to report on our semi-annual report. So this is basically what we reported to EPA. Very recently between the months of July and December. So our reporting is to what it pertains to the AOC deadlines. So first, the environmental information document for Pāhala, that has been completed and approved by the EPA. For Nāʻālehu, we are currently addressing AIS comments we have received from Shifty. Our next milestone in the AOC is our implementation plan. So for the Pāhala community, that plan has been completed and submitted to EPA and has received its approval. For the Nāʻālehu community, that is future activity. Just out of curiosity, how much is from Nāʻālehu? All Pāhala. Okay. Just out of curiosity. Pre-construction and construction. So for Pāhala, our currently collection system that y'all are aware of, that's ongoing right now. The target completion date is November 30th of 2026 of this year. For the Pāhala wastewater treatment plant, that is pending award of a contract. And then for the Nāʻālehu large capacity cesspool closure, the collection system, sewer pump station is in the design phase, as where the wastewater treatment plant. We're currently refining the layout of that site plan. And then the county website, we update that on a monthly basis. So that's kind of our report to the EPA through the months of July and December 2020. Alright, so for Pāhala. Next slide. So this is kind of to show all the completion and milestones that we have met throughout these past years. Last year we went out with the bid solicitation for the wastewater treatment plant. We commenced the collection system construction. And just very recently, we awarded the construction contract for the wastewater treatment plant. The awarded contract there was Alpha Inc. So, and then the next two milestones that we're looking at accomplishing is completing the construction of the collection system and completing the construction of the wastewater treatment plant, which will ultimately allow us to close the large capacity cesspools. So just going to some of the next steps. So we are in the process of finalizing some of the easements that we're trying to acquire for some of the collection lines. We are continuing on with the construction of the collection system. And then we're looking to execute the contract for the wastewater treatment plant. And then we're tentatively having our next countywide, district-wide committee meeting in August 2023. Before I move on, anybody have any questions about the information I was shown?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, the construction was done for the mines, right? The county mines. What about the private lines? Do the private people have to hire someone to connect?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So it depends. So if you're a property that's currently connected to the sewer line that is connected to our large capacity cesspool, under the project, we will be connecting those properties to the new collection system.
That's the people that was on the community access.
Correct.
So is the county using the old line?
No, so ultimately in the end, also, when you say old lines, is this the existing main or the existing dry sewer lines that's on?
I'm asking from the house to the sewer line.
Okay, so that is a case by case basis. So as we get to those properties, we're cameraing the existing lines and seeing what the existing conditions is. If they look like they're well in shape and can be utilized, we will go ahead and look to utilize it as much as possible.
But then on the ones that don't have it, is the county gonna do the,
No, so those are what we call like the newly accessible lots. So if you look in the map here, these are those purple lots. So those are the newly accessible lots where we're only gonna be bringing the lateral up to the property line. And
the
then,
people have to find their own contractor to do that.
yes.
I thought there was only complete for us, especially all the.
Yeah, so I know that's been a common question that has been asked because the previous administration has made that statement. But unfortunately, the main focus of the project is to close the large capacity cesspool, which is the main requirement out of the AOC. So the current code for the project is just to connect the existing lots that are connected to the large capacity cesspool. No, well, again, the main focus at this time is really just to close the large capacity cesspool.
Are you gonna finish the land before you close? Where is the land gonna be anyway?
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask, so that's a good question. So the wastewater treatment plant would have to be up and in operation before we can connect the existing ones. So, sorry, I take that back. Under this project, we will be connecting those houses to the new system because we will still be utilizing the existing large capacity cesspools. Upon completion of the treatment plant, then we'll be diverting the flow from the cesspools to the treatment plant.
And the treatment plant is gonna be where? Is it still the same area?
So it's located at the intersection of the highway and Miley Street. In this map in the back of me, there's an orange shaded area. That's where the wastewater treatment plant will be working.
In the Mecna, the original air, location that when we first started. Yeah.
As far as I know, it's in that area. It's been in that original area.
Because we need to know exactly, I mean.
Well, when I,
What causing the big cesspool? The gang cesspool, and yet because we didn't have a plan yet, and you guys have to be sure where it's going to go.
no, so I just wanna clarify, when I said, as far as I know. Cause I came to wastewater, 5 years ago, so from the time I took over the project, it's been in that original location. At the intersection of the highway and the Mighty Street.
Okay, so that's above the highway.
Yes,
So, what you say, the guys in Buffalo got a pay for their own connection from their house to the line.
yes.
You be this fair when you pay for everybody else, then these guys gotta come up with extra funds, they get house loans, they get everything, you gotta pay, and you would end up, go back to America. That's not fair, discrimination. You forcing them to buy into their home, if they're buying, so county should be the one that put it in. I think it's fair, before that, way everybody be equal. You don't put more expense for certain people because of where they located at. When you rent a house, you want to discrimination is a thing, okay? Right? How you really get out of you got to pay accident, you already go pay $1,000 loan. You think it's fair for them?
Yeah, and I understand that perspective, and maybe we can speak about it separately, but right now. Unfortunately, the main approach for the project is to close a large capacity cesspool, which is to connect the existing lots to the system.
So, yes, the idea is that pipe is already open. Now you can let them connect sooner or later, but it since it's open now, should you guys should we put it in for them already? Like how you did everybody else? Because the pipe is already going to be open, right? For connecting.
Well, the pipe is gonna be brought to the property line. So from there, you could connect the house to the property.
So how far can you wait for something with the line on this? You come show, on the road, you 5 feet, well, it's.
So it'll be right at the property line.
But you're right at the property, but.
Yeah.
You cannot discriminate because of where they live.
I think this project started in 2020, and like you said, there are so many things to change over the money. But in the beginning, they finalized and they voted that even though those who are not connected, the counties will be taken will help. Now that it's different, also people different year can we as homeowners, because I am one of the 60 houses who will have to pay, when we have a contract. Can the county help us in this? Because my understanding is there are plans out there are grants. But we as homeowners, we don't even know we heard, but we're asking the county, can they help us? Can they, change the deadline for us? It's just this coming close, it's in this year that you see, so. That is one of the issues, if you can go back and ask, because. This is where we are at. Many, like I just said, on 16 points. How can that county help us in the? You guys can come and we give you permission to come on our properties. And, okay, but many of them are not aware of the full picture. Some of them don't even know we have a unit tonight. It's just by word of mouth, and so. This is why we're at. Where are the most on the shady? How can we bring it all up? Because many of them still think it's all covered, and it's not. So, and already open, and this is why,
But we have a lot of owners.
I have another question. If you're just gonna connect the people that are on the community, gang Cesspool. And the others are not gonna connect at the same time. What will happen to our community road? Right? Is it gonna be fixed? I mean, right now, it's a mess. I compliment Goodfellow, they did a good job with the water trucks and everything, keeping the community, but. It sure would help if the county would bring water truck with our. Volcanic ash and, yeah, but. You know what I mean, that road's gonna be open until you guys are not connected.
Yeah, so,
It'll be like. Somebody moves.
no, so ultimately in the end, when all the construction work within the roadways is completed. We're gonna come back and pave all the roads, all the stuff, yes,
It's done.
yeah, so,
What's the worst road, what's the lead?
yeah. Well, we're gonna do it all at once, cause yeah, we'll be doing it all at once with,
Until they're done.
but it is, I know it is a short term,
Short term.
it is a disruption.
Because they work, we started on the roads.
Yeah.
Okay, so they dug it all up, we put up with all this, steel plates and everything, going down to the rubbish dump. The road is so bumpy, I can't even drive my car that way, you have to have a truck just to get to the rubbish dump. So how long is a short term? 1 year, 5 years, 10 years?
Well, it should be, so again, the completion of the project is November of this year.
This year.
Yeah.
You start being. Some nights, we gotta run our cars on that.
But that is a valid issue,
Can we come to the government to buy us some tires, vehicles, and vehicles?
well, it's something I'll see what we can do to kind of help mitigate it for the interim for now. But ultimately, in the end of the project, we will be carrying back all the roads to how it was.
Yeah.
Sorry, this would be, sorry, in the back. Any question? Yeah.
Great. I think the majority of the from the previous administration, and that line, you have discussed a lot about their loves, the nasty. Say, we want a sewer line, and 2 houses down the road, they're not on your sewer lines. They say you're having more funds, because of people that was not on the sewer line. When did this change? The question was asked on the previous meetings, and they have, what you call, take all these meetings. So now all of a sudden, I hear, okay, there's a focus on changing the cesspool, they said, fine, that's the priority. But what happens with all the comments that people will say, or what the ones that now on the school land block between the past, because according to, federal regulation, you gotta do what, this is a good system. But they had, previous administration, they had the meetings, he said, oh no, the ones that are not on the single line, they have a one successful, and they got to come in. They have the money appropriated for their also, and so, that's kind of the, so, yeah, looking for story now.
Alright.
Yeah, I'll let you guys start walking there, we keep on answer that to us. Because, you'll say we have a meeting, and then you guys, yeah, one side.
In the next meeting, we like request, the councilwoman be here, because that's her job. People all need to be here, because that's his job, representing us as a community.
And now the representative, you like, guys, yeah.
And do me a favor, I've been to county meetings. Bring all these people up here instead of pointing them to the town. Bring the people who are involved in the meeting, bring them up here, and when you interview. It's only proper, right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, one more.
Hi, so my name is Justin Pinal, the environment coordinator, the owner for the state fair. And I hear your concerns loud and clear. I mean, I can imagine what it's tough with a girl like this after all this work that's being done. So what I can say is we have to meet your EEM every month. And I'd like to get a list of the homeowners that are going to that. And then be able to bring this up, get this on the agenda of the next meeting and start talking with the county of, is there a possibility for funds? So we need to know who needs to pay. And then we can, there's a map, right, that's all about the homeowners and all that, but at least you can have a map, like you said, perfect, I hear you. But where we can see, are there extra funds from the county, what are the options for helping people that housing? And that's gonna be my within here, and I'm.
So they don't get paid, you don't shut them down for this.
I would hope not. Absolutely not, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some answers. I'm gonna be questions, to people. You know, that needs to have this information about what will be done.
Excuse me,
So,
but your information, all that was given. Letters by now, where did it go?
Right, do you have any, does anyone have any copies of any of this?
yeah, I can,
Yeah.
yeah, so, I can get with you after the meeting, I'll take one more question, then we'll continue on,
Okay.
you never get to yours. I'll allow this gentleman to go first, and then I'll get to you, Gary.
Who is gonna make the determination as far as to replace that pipe?
That would be with wastewater division and the contractor to, as we verify the existing conditions.
Because my line is cracked,
Okay,
but they say they're just gonna run it directly to the.
okay, I can get with you after if you wanna point out your property, and then I can, we can verify that. So I'll take one more question and then we'll continue on with the meeting side.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Never wants to be more, I mean, that's the question, and we say. The commission was already, they would pass that, and you ask me not to there. Come on, no, I'm the thinking. You do administrations, you gotta change everything, rather than bang up dust, you square the buildings. Okay, rest those deeper, you know what's going on. But the thing is, I'm gonna give you some way, I mean, children will just this they close me, and then if everybody pays, just wrong. Yeah, you know what's here, so you'll do your homework, check it
No,
out.
I'm a volunteer on this commission, I'm here to learn and get up to speed so I can represent you and provide anything right from the previous day. Okay, sir?
We want to volunteer for people Cesspool, but you want
Of course, I understand, and that's why I'm here to understand what you want me to do, and I'm here.
When you check the back records, the ones that he was asking for, you stay, you so you know what's going on.
Yeah. Alright. Thank you guys very much for that input. Move on to the next. So for Nāʻālehu. Go on, next time. So currently where we're at with Nāʻālehu, as far as AOC milestones, it is the environmental information document, which we're, target deadline is, May 21st of 2027. So we're still in the environmental phase of that. So some of the next steps that we're looking to accomplish for the Nāʻālehu community, it's finalizing the EA/EID, refining the wastewater treatment plant site layout. We still have to do our land acquisition for the wastewater treatment plant. We're looking to complete the design of incorporating the seaboard system, and we just have some outreach to some of the newly accessible commercial lots. Orange lots on the map in the back of here. And then we do have our next district-wide meeting in August. So, did you skip a slide? Oh, no, okay, yeah. So this, if you want some resources on information about the project, here's some few links. So if we are the project, you have some contact information. And then, bye. So really, is the talent, I'd like to open up if you guys have any more questions.
Yeah, we have a point, septic.
So if you are on a septic and your property becomes accessible, the Department of Health will probably look to have you connect to the collection system. That would be the requirement under the Hawaii administrative rules.
Okay, I have a question. If I build a home today in Pāhala and there's no sewer system, what is the county gonna do?
So right now, if you're not accessible to the collection system, you'd have to do a septic system.
And then when you decide to put the sewer system, I have to connect it.
Because the Hawaii administrative rules see septic systems
I
as a
understand.
temporary system.
Because my concept is when I built my home, county gave me the building permit. Right, with the cesspool. Now the rules have changed. So it's not my kuleana, it should be the county's kuleana. They gave me the permit.
They approved it.
Well, the Department of Health, the state gives the permit. Oh, sorry. Sorry, let me answer her question with that. So the Department of Health approves the usage of the cesspool, right? That's under their jurisdiction. If you become accessible, again, the rules calls for you would have to connect to the collection system. Now, if you're a septic system, right, it's still seen as a
I
temporary system.
understand, but when I originally built my home, the county was involved in the permit. Right?
Yes, for the
Because
building
even
permit, yes.
now, for instance, because Big Island is not set up. You're selling, county is approving property to be sold, people to build, and yet you don't have any infrastructure. So the cost goes on the individuals, you know what I mean? So I don't think, the plans are really right.
What is the difference for the system? That they come back here and the system, they get a needle, it doesn't screw up over there.
So, sorry, which incident? You're talking about the recent
Yes,
spill. So that's a separate incident. So that's again, that was a malfunction of our chlorination system at our Popeye Coal Resource plant. So that is a different situation on that matter.
no, but it's the same kind of system.
It's a collection system to a treatment plant, so.
Mark, we have a question, you just to explain the difference between what's going on with the county, the state, and then the federal.
Yeah.
To draw the lines between those.
Okay,
What's going on, it's kind of muddy.
okay, so the state law, right, is by 2050 is all cesspools will have to be decommissioned. State has a jurisdiction over septic systems. The rules are if your house is not available to a sewer system, meaning the lateral is not brought to your property line. You would have to construct a septic system. Septic systems are seen as a temporary system. Right, so this is Hawaii administrative rules. So upon a house becoming accessible to a new system, right, to a collection system, that's where the rules will require you to connect your house to the system. So the county jurisdiction is up for the collection system up to the property lines. The private property side, it falls under the Department of Health for the septic systems aspect.
And then what's the federal role in all this?
Well, it's the EPA, right? The federal EPA is where the federal side comes in, and then on the federal side, the EPA has our AOC.
Because
Because the gate sells food.
Yes,
because our sewage is going into the ocean, right?
well,
That one the reason?
yeah, large capacity cesspools put risk to the environment of it entering our groundwaters or the oceans.
So,
Our groundwater is above us, our cesspool is right below us, there's no research. But then, you know, guys, ground level, ocean level. It's too stale, not even on septic or water, yeah.
Yeah, so they're facing the same challenge. I think it is a island-wide challenge. Yeah,
don't stay.
and then there's no perfect answer.
No.
Maybe they should start allocating funds for this alone. Make some kind of cesspool system that put into the tax system to make money or connect everybody's money and not take out of pocket and people get not getting paid. Ahead of time, you guys should be planning this.
So, I'll give you a chance. Yeah, go on.
So since 2010, people that have ducted in their pipes in their yard, they have to pay to use the pipe that there is no water going through, no nothing going through, and they have paid for it since 2010. Are we gonna be credited that when we get connected to it, when the people get flowed in, water gets flowed in, are we gonna be credited that?
No, so if you're connected to the community system, the fees that you're currently paying is for the connection that you're currently on the existing system right now.
We're again, Cesspool.
Yeah, so that's where the fees is, because the county is operating and managing that. system.
That's not, that's.
For the connection, we use the tank. Which not even one water when you get.
But some of these guys, they pumps on their house, they're,
That's
these
what they're
power
paying.
pumps, for take them to the pipe.
Yeah.
They pumps already,
It's
the warranty is gone already.
16 years.
So what now, you guys will come in and put new pumps for them and all that?
And
Yes,
it's
sir,
not
they have
okay. They don't come collect your house once they need work.
They're taking it out to the water, you don't know.
Yeah.
No, so, okay, so I just wanna clarify a couple of things, so first. The sewer fee that you're currently paying is just because you're connected to the existing system, which that's
That's
being,
not what was said. In 2010,
16 years ago.
I'm
Okay.
sorry if I need to.
yeah, so I cannot
Yeah.
speak on that, but,
But maybe you can go check.
okay. I can try to
They
see,
still on the whole system.
Yeah, now we need to, you need to get the.
Yeah, it's not a deal behind it. It's not a big to.
So when they remark, still never have Cesspool, so you should, that's why, yeah, I don't know.
sorry, can we, sorry. I just wanna be mindful of everybody, you know, sorry, if you wanna go ahead and say.
So, one of you, one of you, right? Good system. So now, you're staying less than $100 every month. So for $100, $140 now.
I don't think the sewer bill shouldn't be based off your water usage.
It is.
Separate.
No, it should be a basic flat rate for wastewater.
Well, they started at 30. What, how much? For the pump, how much you guys are 30 for their. But went out to like 50 something.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
And a lot of these older people that are in that community that live in that area that you got that are on vacation gangs, they actually died, but they were complaining to me that why they have to pay when nothing was being done. And that was like she said, about 15 years ago. So that means you guys, where the county, someone is collecting all that money, and yet we still gotta pay again to connect. I mean, that's wrong. You've been collecting
Well,
for over 15
I don't
years.
think if you're not connected to the community cesspool, I don't think you should be getting a wastewater bill.
No. They not.
Yeah.
She does.
I know.
And you're connected to the
old system.
old system, yeah, so if you
You
are,
get a separate bill for the wastewater department.
Yes. yeah, it should be a separate bill. And it should be a flat rate, not based off water usage.
Uh-huh.
And then the pipe all that, we come to the respondent. On site pipe, you're talking about.
It's a 6-inch lateral.
So you guys, how use that as tool or? You have our own pipe?
So if you're a newly accessible lot,
Yeah.
yeah, it would be the homeowner who would be responsible for that.
But how much else can?
Well, again, just circling back to the elephant in the room, with which we'll try and work with the EMC and try to get more answers. One more slide, any more?
I have just one question.
Yeah.
Just one question.
Guys, sorry, if you can be mindful, please, of the gentlemen's.
Okay, they're currently on the street that I live on.
Yeah.
And like Mike was mentioning about a pump. I'm the one on the legal street that has that pump in my backyard.
Yeah,
And then pump was put in before when we had to dig the line to bring the line from the back of the house to the front, connect to the system that they're putting in now. But the pump had a 5-year warranty. It's buried in the ground and it's hooked up to an electrical system to my house with an alarm and everything. In which I had to get a generator in case the thing should go out.
that I can hook it up to the generator to have it pump out. But being that, I remember that pump having only a 5-year warranty, are they gonna change the pump, they never ran it, you know?
That's a good question. Maybe after the meeting, I can take your name and number, and then I can conversation. It should be, and that's why I would have to investigate that a little bit
But
more.
mine, because the lock goes down in the back.
But-
Basically, you don't know the whole system.
Well, some of those properties, that's, yeah. we'll have to figure-
That's why she brought it up, because they were paying for this hookup in their water bill from 2010. And no,
It wasn't in the water bill, it was in.
it was, oh, okay, she answered the water. Oh, well, I just said that, you know, oh,
And then we spoke her, and I have my regular.
okay.
Well, I cannot.
Yeah, it was $30 like Gwen said, but it went up to $50.
Sorry, I'll take another question
But the bill
about,
comes every
sorry,
month.
if we can please be respectful and Gary, if you have.
Okay, great. Not only, but I think we need that statement capacity of the new system. I think that system was big enough to cover down the whole Pāhala. Okay, that's what was saying in the previous meeting. Now, what's going on? I heard you say that for PMC, they have to do some altercation. This is going from small, where the team only going to cover down the guys with the purple line, or the purple on the map. Or the team will be still on capacity to install it out, for the entire Pāhala. And the question also was asked at that time, if Pāhala was to get more loans in this general area, they said was more inadequate. Now I hear them say they need adjustment. We have thought about that.
Okay, so the current wastewater treatment plant, it's sized for so much capacity, to handle what is shown right here, right? The existing Nāʻālehu Cesspool with some additional capacity. Sorry, it's able to handle a couple phases of the community. And then ultimately, if we want to build out the entire community, there might be a level of expansion of an additional treatment unit and disposal field.
And you don't have to go cost to the people, the price was not, but the question was brought back and then say that was adequate enough for Pāhala. And also for the people that are not underlying, they had enough money for free, to connect. Plus, I asked the question, when we connect, I know it's gotta be a certified plumber, not nobody can just need, I don't do it so. Okay, it's required. Now, I know the guys on the school life, okay, you love it, but I'm just concerned about the people on the left and right, the people, but you're talking about the pump. The pump is what? I asked the question back there, how come the pump's not being used? And the warranty is gone, you guys have mechanics that can come and fix it, because you know what, the thing broken. You guys say, there's the mechanics of identity, that's not from Honolulu, so what the guys do, shit in the bucket.
Yeah, so for this gentleman's situation, I'm gonna look into it because I believe the system should be deep enough to where it can be gravity.
Well,
Yeah, so,
that's what Brendan does.
Yes.
You're always there to gravity.
Yeah.
All these points,
Yeah.
He doesn't even know why he's already.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
so I'm gonna investigate that situation more.
Yeah, but instead of checking the ones that just giving the adjustments, this, the team must have, but we kind of always don't need that, we got connected, you don't have connection to the break of the whole day night. It's supposed to be automatically connected, that was the whole thing, and then everybody was happy with that, that's why it's good for us, all kinds of ones, you see.
All right,
You gotta remember, they're forced because of the community never asked for this. They're forced because of the community. They should, okay, make it easy for everybody in the community to get the hookups and all that, not where we gotta pay more. Where certain people pay more, certain people don't have to. You guys mandating this. You're not asking me.
You guys are being put in the top head of the state. There's gonna be like all public council, all people that's supposed to be there. I think they can feel about it because it's a new, because I never see one people ago. Okay, Brandon is wrong, understandable, but the future. You know, these guys, when he's back, so we come out here, we do your homework, so you, but the people talk about what we had discussed. You go over the plan. That's right.
Alright. So, yeah, one more question.
Pay for water. Okay. But what was the damage that sorry, right, because it doesn't work also.
So,
You make money from what? You make all this money, you can just our whole, you're making our whole town, probably as well. I'm gonna try to buffer road. So what would we ask you? Very gonna change our lifestyle, right, you know, everything. We buy new home, we buy home. We'll start our coming, you don't have to future, you know. Then we gotta pay all this money. You guys should have set up, we as well as the house. And get it, plus the future prices of whatever you should do, don't really know nothing about. Because they really see the
yeah, so on the roadway situation, I'll have some conversations with our contractors, see what we can do for the interim until we come back and resurface the entire roads that were currently disturbed.
I have another question.
Yes.
Okay, if you have the lines going and have you guys thought the whole project in itself, because the way the homes are built and the way our cesspools were dug, you know, it was closest, you know, by specs. So connecting the sewer, if, like for instance, my house, I'm on the corner. If the sewer line is on Kokio, and then Koali might have another sewer line. Can I have the choice on where I hook up? Or have the county look that far in the future?
Yeah, so we do, for this project in particular, we looked at where the previous dry lines were, and we try to put it in close proximity. Sometimes we cannot put it exactly because we have setbacks, horizontal setbacks for water lines or utility poles, so we might have to adjust the location. So we try to accommodate those specific properties. And in other situations where we couldn't, we try to at least place it on the low side of the property to as best as possible to be able to have a gravity flow
It's a
connection.
property owner, I wanna cut my costs, right? The shortest route to the line.
Right.
So, but you guys haven't looked that far ahead yet, and only on this.
Only for this
increment.
project, yes.
Well, I understand from now.
Well, I won't be here, just,
From there. Get another 24.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, this question is, what's gonna happen, okay? From my understanding, all the projects that we have done, we've been doing right now, there was a grant that was given, right? There was how many millions? What's gonna happen to the rest? Are they getting another millions of dollars to do the project?
So for right now, we have the funding for this project and the wastewater treatment plant. We are currently drafting our integrated wastewater master plan, which will potentially show projection of potential projects. But then, potential projects for sewer line expansion, but that's always subject to availability of funding, so I don't have other plan. So
That means like the rest that are not covered right now, they will be paying more, I guess, if that's the case. If you guys, there is no more a budget for them to pay.
well, if you're not connected to the system or accessible, wastewater division wouldn't have a purpose to charge you guys if you guys are outside of the system.
The second one is the way how Mr. Silva was saying that it's unfair for the people to pay and the others will not be paying. Because we all pay our tax, property tax, yeah? So we're supposed to be also compensated of the amount that was given, the grant that, I forgot, 3 million, 33 million, I forgot the figures.
For the collection system is,
For just this first phase that you guys doing.
so the collection system was 30.9 million, and then the treatment plan is around 30.
Like the 33 million, right? So, I mean, those who are in the game Cesspool, they are free right now. Those who are not game Cesspool, then they are not free. It's like same thing with our subdivision, our street, okay? It ends into one house, and the rest going up to the end of the road of the street are not covered. So we will be end up paying, and the others will be paying. So I think that's what I'm just.
Yeah.
I think also the mayor also should also, or the government, whoever will be helping, supposed to get also extra help for the people who are not against this. So if we can do an apply for a grant or apply to the state, if we could help, because I think there are 60 homes that are not covered with the game Cesspool that you've been doing the street digging already.
Yes.
So do you think the state can have some kind of help for those 60 homes that are not covered?
Well, grant money and those type of programs, they always vary, because it always comes down to availability of funds, and sometimes those programs have a certain window when you can apply. One suggestion is to maybe check in with the Office of Housing or Department of Health to see if they have any grant programs available at this moment that could help.
By the way, how much did Brewer leave? Brewer leave for the project? Do you know the figure?
Oh, I don't know the exact dollar off the top.
Well, it's been building since the shutdown. I mean, the money must have been set aside, but you don't know the figure.
I don't know the exact dollar.
But that, I think that's why we're the project, we're the, right? Because money was there, set aside. That's why Pāhala and Nāʻālehu were being, that we were on a community, getting Cesspool. And Brewer had to leave some money for that purpose. That this is the project, right, for the island.
Well, this is the project we're putting in our AOC.
Yeah. But, being that federally saying by 2050, I mean, the mayor is saying that he knows we ain't gonna do it by 2050, it's a fact. But, you know, I know it was said that he's asking for extensions, you know, and so which makes sense to me personally, you know. The thing is, there was a comment from our community person, he's not here anymore, to say, why don't we try and ask if our weights in certain communities didn't reach the ocean, you know, try to be exempted. Has anybody thought about that?
Yeah, that's a separate discussion beyond our AOC. That's a bigger picture thing, but. Alex, is there anybody else, any more questions to me?
I do, I have a question.
Okay.
When you build the plant, where does the wastewater go? Into the ground?
Yeah, so the plant, we're gonna be treating it to a R2, a reuse quality, and there'll be a subsurface drip irrigation. So it'll
What's the
be,
difference with the cesspool that we have now and what you're gonna get?
so, under the wastewater treatment plant, we're gonna provide secondary treatment, disinfection, and then we're also gonna be, subsurface drip irrigation with a bit of our grass species, which is, help improve, nutrient uptake.
So the spill that we had about 2 weeks ago outside of Timor, was okay, it was good water.
No, so it was, again, there was a malfunction in our chlorination system, so that's why we had to put out the warning signs for that situation. We had to do our sampling, make sure we got to acceptable levels with the Pāhala, and then we could allow the, activities in that area to, go back to normal.
No, that's why I'm asking you, was it okay?
Well,
That spillage, it,
our, coming from wastewater, no spill is okay. You know, but unfortunately, sometimes it happens and there's procedures and protocols we do have to
then
follow.
we're making the plant above the highway,
Yes, that's.
so when any spillage. Our roads are close to that.
I don't think it would, again, I can't speak situational because I don't have a crystal ball, but,
But you guys should look into all of the.
well, again,
Fair enough, we can.
but we couldn't tell what kind of event will happen in what.
Okay, and if, okay, and now where the treating plant is. Where the McNutt trees are, right? Is that an agreement with the McNutt company to put the over whatever?
So,
Sprinkle system,
yeah, so,
because that is food.
well, the property, there was a sell agreement with the McNutt property owner, so that property is actually the county stuff. So that portion of the wastewater treatment plant is the county.
So that's okay, but not our cesspool, you know what I mean, with water, irrigation, or whatever you're saying.
Yeah, because we're providing.
Because you're providing the
Yeah, the
treatment.
treatment.
So is there a way that you guys can provide the treatment for our cesspools?
Well, it's to connect to our system. You know, because again,
The cost is a big money, you know.
the cesspool would be, a direct discharge from the
Somebody
ground,
invested
right?
in
So
something.
we would have to take it to the wastewater treatment plant so we could treat it.
For the money, or maybe that.
What's that for?
Alright,
Gonna happen, okay.
last question of the night.
If they will, right now they're doing our street, right? So because my house is not on the gang Cesspool. So, but then they still gonna continue all the way to the street. So are we going to get fined because the deadline is 2050, right? If we will not hook ours one, what gonna happen to us?
We're not gonna be here.
It's not 2050 because it's 2050, right? If you refuse now till 2050,
Oh, I cannot speak for the state, what the state will do, that is a state requirement, right? So that.
The last time you said you only so many months of Chinese, you don't Chinese, you sign when you whatever you did. The penalty. That's what they said the last time.
Well, yeah, there is that rule, the county rule does have that.
So we have to
But-
sign no matter what.
it's 50, no?
Yeah.
But I'm speaking about, the 2050 deadline.
That's a
We don't know if we are.
That's the different.
That's a
State deadline.
State deadline.
Yeah, it's been, the whole pile is supposed to be on deck, right? Like
So
when you, that's when
Well,
the whole
actually,
pile
the
is supposed to be on deck.
Everyone knows you have that debt one.
That's why the mayor and the council should be working, because the question is. We're still selling property, infrastructure is not done. And like I said, I personally feel the county gave me the permit to build my home and make my cesspool that. So beyond, there's rules, I understand. You know, and we have to cross that bridge.
We will pay for the inspection, it says.
Well, just to be mindful, everybody that's online, we'll conclude the meeting, I'll be around here later on if anybody has more questions we wanna talk, but. With that, thank you everybody for coming, and that'll be.
The end of our thing.